What's going on, fans of fighting? I bet you didn't think we would be here. Boxing Chit back alive once again. It's been about 2 weeks for us, and we want to come back, show some love, of course, and talk about the fights that are going on this weekend. Maybe mention something that happened last week. What's going on there with your buys? How you been, buddy?
Oh, it's been real cold here lately, and yesterday I had a really tiresome day. But yeah, so I'm a little bit exhausted, but it's not too bad. Anyway, you get used to it, kind of. Yeah, when you live here for so long as I have. Yeah,
Good stuff. As I always say, rain, sleet, or snow, boxing, it will continue forward. As a matter of fact, we've gotten snow here this past week or at the beginning of the week, and we're expected to get a bit more here as I guess this current weekend continues forward. And it should be interesting. But there's actually an event taking place in Maryland at Maryland Live, ProBox TV show. So gonna be out there. So we'll talk about that one as well. But yeah, here in the meantime, though, Boz, of course, last week we did have Raymond Murataya who took on Andy Cruz in what was a highly anticipated matchup that was going to see two of the potential young guns and what they could do going up against each other for a title with chance to become one of right there in the mix as the top names there at 135 pounds. And I think they're both essentially there. I know leading into it, we were leaning Andy Cruz, and it ended up being I believe, split decision victory for Raymond Murataya. And I was looking back on the videos from us when we discussed this, and we did both go for Cruz. I was saying that Murataya, he
yeah,
would be very interesting, and it would likely be a close contest. You can go look back, folks, who were saying that likely be a pretty close contest, and that's what it turned out to be. And want to get your thoughts on that, buys, and then just thinking about both fighters, what could potentially be next because there is the rumor of a potential matchup between Murataya and the winner of this fight between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez, also thrown in the mix, even though that would be a division up for him.
yeah. Well, yeah, that was a pretty close fight, I thought, and I didn't agree with some. I know one judge had it 116 to 112. I didn't think it was so wide for Murataya, but yeah, he won. He won by staying on, on cruise way up and close and putting on pressure and just keeping it up. And yeah, he knew he had to do that, I guess, with a guy like Cruz, who's like a very kind of athletic, technically sound fighter, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you gotta like you gotta apply a lot of pressure, of course, and yeah, Murataya just I think maybe the Cruz didn't have so many fights. It was the decisive factor. Probably he had 6 fights, I believe, coming in. Yeah, so only 6 fights. Like, yeah, it's not a lot. And Murataya had like 20 something, 24, 5, something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a big difference, definitely. Yeah. So there was a little of that, He was too fresh, Cruz, and I think he expected to just like like win pretty easily, or that he would just steamroll over Murataya or something. Anyway, he that's not how it went. I mean, credit to Murataya definitely for this is one of his
Mm-hmm.
maybe, if not the best victory so far, one of the best, yeah, definitely. So I'm excited to see what he does in future, how far he can get, and yeah. And for Cruz, it's a learning curve, it's a learning experience. So he'll come back. I expect come back stronger. Yeah,
Yeah, no, good stuff right there. Yeah, Bods. So yeah, great observation. I think that this was a very interesting matchup. paper as we had noted, and we figured it would turn out to be a pretty solid contest just in general. So, as mentioned, I was looking back on kind of what we stated, and one of the reasons I went with Cruz was because I felt that with the work that was being done with Bozy Ennis as his trainer and having that similar mindset or thinking about it from the perspective of Boots and kind of how we've seen his progression and how he fights essentially, and he has no problem coming forward. I thought
Mm.
that would be sort of the telltale sign or the added benefit and boost there for Andy Cruz going into the matchup. And it turned out it did not play out how I thought it would in order for Cruz to gain victory because, as you noted from the jump, Raymond Murataya, he was on him, and Raymond Murataya was pushing the action. Now, I
Yeah.
know that Andy Cruz can box. He has that Cuban amateur background, and sometimes they have a tendency to sort of rest on their laurels a bit and try
Oh
to
yeah.
work you and outpoint you the way they would sort of on the amateur scene. And I felt that for Andy Cruz, he spent too much time on the back foot practically the entire fight. And you could argue at some points he may have just kind of rested on his laurels because you didn't get the sense that, or you got a sense that he had some level of confidence, or at least he still tried to show different bravado and all that stuff, but he didn't
Mm.
have enough of the activity and he wasn't coming forward enough. He wasn't really going forward in a way that I thought that he would, with respect to having Bozy Ennis in his corner. Now he had of course, top level opponent in front of him. I had noted the different things related to Raymond Murataya and just his all around game. I mean, when Raymond, because he's had maybe like two performances where people are like, iffy or whatever. But you could argue all fighters have had and gone through those. But basically, at his best,
Mm.
Raymond Murataya, he would be tough for anyone to deal with. I think his size is good, as I had noted. I think he's got enough explosion speed, he's got enough power, and he's skilled boxing wise. And I think that's what we saw. We saw Raymond Muratai, who came in on his game, ready for it. The guy who was the underdog. I think that the majority of people were picking Andy Cruz, and we
Yes.
saw Cruz come in seemingly ready for it, but just a little bit too passive as far as I'm concerned, as far as it relates to his performance. And I think that's ultimately what did him in his passive nature and not being more aggressive. Of course, that
Yeah.
comes with more risk. And if you're a technical boxer of his ilk, then you don't often like to take those types of risks if it's going to put you in a situation against an opponent who can legitimately touch you, potentially hurt you. So that's a
Yeah.
too passive performance for me for Cruz.
Yeah, I remember when I watched Cruz live. It was against Antonio Moran, and
Hmm.
he did get that knockout. But I thought he could have even gotten it earlier had he really pushed for it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the yeah. I can see that some of that he doesn't always like force, yeah, or press the action enough, and yeah, I think I can see that point you made. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something I think they'll have to work on. Of course, he can bounce back from this performance, despite the win being a Murataya win. It was a close matchup, and there
Mm.
might have been some who felt that Cruz won. I think it's mixed in the crowd. You could hear sort of like a mixture or whatever, but I wasn't scoring it, and I was watching it, and watching it, I just felt, and I'll have to go back and look. I want to go back and look at it, give it its proper justice because I had another event on that I had on the screen at the same time. So, sometimes when you're looking at multiple things, but from what I saw, the thing that stood out most for me was the fact that Raymond Murataya was coming forward. He was pressing Cruz, and he seemed to be supremely confident. and I think that won him the fight as the aggressor
Yeah.
there. Now, um, this is a title win for Murataya. I don't know if a rematch would be something that would be next or anything of that nature, but 135, we had Shakur Stevenson. He moved up. That being said, you I guess have a new crop who is going to essentially have to take it over because that core
Mm.
group that we had previously is no longer there. Devontae Davis, he's arrested, so he's out of the picture.
Oh,
Shakur
right.
Stevenson, he's up. He moved up, so maybe
Mm.
he'll come back down. I don't know, but in all likelihood, he probably won't, considering it, especially if he gets this victory over Teofimo Lopez. Same with Teofimo Lopez. Doesn't look like he's going to be heading back down. Ryan Garcia is gone. You have Lamont Roach
Oh, yeah.
Jr. He went to
Very good.
140 to fight Cruz, but I think he will come back down. So that could potentially be a fight there. But that being said, we'll have to see where he ends up. Then, of course, Pitbull Cruz is fighting at 140. Doesn't seem like he's going to come back down to 135, but I guess you never know. So that crop at 135 has sort of shifted a bit. That being said,
Yeah.
I suppose there's still some fights that can be made. I'm gonna have to actually go to the ring to actually look at who all is there as far as remaining at 135, who they can
Well,
legitimately mix
yeah.
it up with. You know?
You got Stephen Fulton there, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
Abdullah Mason, and yeah,
oh yeah, Abdullah. Yeah, he has a
Williams
title.
Zepeda. Yeah. Mm.
Oh yeah, William Zepeda is still there. Okay, yeah, yeah. So interesting name there. And Fulton, he actually the interesting thing is, I think he missed weight in that. Yeah, he was going to 135, missed weight, and then or maybe it was going to 130. I'm trying to remember now, but missed weight, and he and Oshaki Foster fought at a higher weight with a different title on the line. I want to say that was a 135 or 140 or whatever, but they have Fulton listed at 135, so I guess he's operating there. So it's interesting, but maybe some good fights in the mix there. And then you have the two of them, Murataya Cruz. Maybe that is a fight that happens at some point in the future. So we'll see.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Good to go. So that was one that happened last week that was worth noting. I was trying to think, was there any other from last week? Uh, um, that was probably the marquee, but big picture this week is definitely going to be a big one. And I wanted to start with Pro Box that's taking place today, Friday, January 30th. Pro Box TV. So it should be a good one. And this is going down at Maryland Live here in Hanover, Maryland, Arundel Mills area there. There's a casino, and it
Oh,
should be a pretty solid, just overall card. You have a lot of fighters out of the DC area. Many have seen or may have heard before. You got Trayvon Sniper Marshall. He's going to be fighting David Whitmire, the body snatcher. He's one worth checking out. Tall guy, digs to the body. Some liken it to Mike McCallum. Not to say he's on that level,
oh,
but he's working his way up. But he's the body snatcher. Dave Whitmire, another one worth checking out the
hmm.
area. You got Irvin Trey Pound Fuller, who we've interviewed multiple times. So old Trey Pound, he's going to be fighting. You got Frankie the franchise Scarborough, who's going to be fighting. We've interviewed Frankie before here on the channel, and he's got a couple of spectacular knockouts that have been in prime position, prime time there on Pro Boxing. Look for him to make a statement and performance again. You got Ben Johnson out of No Excuse Gym, a really bright young star right there who's going to do some major things. He fights at 147. You got Jordan Roach, younger brother of Lamont Roach Jr. He's going to be fighting on the card. He's one to watch out. A very skilled fighter right there. And he has the amateur backing to back him up and prove such as well. So he's going to be one to watch. So this is a No Excuse Promotions Pro Box collaboration. So I'm very much looking forward. You have a couple other guys, Brian Flores in the main event.
Yeah.
He's going to be taking on Castillo, Dominican
Starling,
fighter. You got yes.
Starling Castillo, yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah. So that's an interesting one right there. Maybe I lean slightly Flores, uh, and you got Sagawa who's going to be fighting, taking on Galvan. Galvan, he lost to I'm sure it's Galvan who I forget somebody knocked him out if I'm not mistaken, but I could be thinking of someone else. But then you have Jordan Short Dog White who's going to be fighting as well. He's headlined a few cards, been on Showtime, all that good stuff. So pretty solid card overall there, Boz. I just wanted to mention such. I'm looking forward to it. Hey, you all can catch it, folks. It'll be on today. Maybe I know that the first fight is supposed to start at 5 p.m. So Eastern time, that is. So if you're looking, it'll be somewhere around that time. You want to tune in, maybe to the YouTube and all that stuff for the preliminary bout. So we'll see how that goes. But Pro Box today, folks, be sure to check that out. A shout out to all involved. And hey, I look forward to being out there. And of course, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about what went down for sure. Shout out to Brother here who drops into the chat.
Hello.
Appreciate you, Rodolfo. Rodolfo says Probox is on today. Yes,
What's up,
indeed.
brother?
Um, yes, indeed, it is there, Rodolfo. Yeah, we were just discussing that. So that's one to watch. I'll be out there. So be on the lookout there, Rodolfo. Yeah, so yeah, we'll be good. We'll be good to go. So thanks, Rodolfo, for dropping by there for sure. Um, let's see. Also, of course, as I mentioned, this is a big weekend for fighting. So you have a card going down at the Madison Square Garden. This is a big one. Been getting a lot of buzz because it's got two guys, both 28 years of age, both in their prime, both ready to solidify or show their status against the best competition in and around their weight right here at this very time, actually, and that is Teofimo Lopez putting his title on the line. He's the ring champion at 140. He's taking on Shakur Stevenson, who is moving up from 135. First fight at 140, going against the top dog there at 140, from all indication, and this should be a very interesting matchup. It has so many different ways it can go there, Boz, but at the very
Yeah.
least, it should be an interesting matchup. Wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, as I said last time, I think Shakur is just superior. His skills are superior, and yeah, I mean, even his movement and everything. It's like it's gonna be very hard for Teofimo to get something done with him. And yeah, I still expect a rather competitive fight, but I don't see that Teofimo can be able to just, you know, like offset the boxing genius. Let's say that is Shakur Stevenson. His boxing IQ is really something. He's not a big puncher, especially at 140, but yeah, my God, can he box? Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, just look at his fight against Valdez. That was the ultimate performance. I mean, and he was taking on a really a name, yeah, a
right.
serious name at the time who was, who had beaten a lot of good, really good names. So yeah, Shakur is really something, a natural talent. Teofimo, like, I mean, he has struggled. He lost to Cambosos. He barely beat Sandor Martin. Yeah, I actually thought that maybe it could have gone other way. It was very
Yeah.
close that fight. And Sandor is a technician, also
Hmm.
like Shakur. So that tells you something that he's not too comfortable fighting these slick guys,
Yeah.
defensively sound and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would be surprised if Teofimo won, and especially if he won by some kind of TKO or knockout. I don't think we will see that for sure.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, of course, I lean towards Shakur on points, but yeah, who knows what can happen? I mean, but yeah, I think that one is almost. I'm 99% sure anyway of that happening. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good stuff. I think that I would lean that direction as well. There, well, not think I know I lean that direction. I think Shakur Stevenson will have enough from a technical standpoint and just his overall pedigree mindset as well to pull it off. I favor him on points against Teofimo Lopez. This could be a very good technical bout where you see two jockeying for position, things of that nature. And I think that Shakur wins that aspect of it. And one of the things that has been noted, but not by myself, but others and all that stuff, is maybe Tiafimo. One of his best chances is to go rough it up, make it very uncomfortable for Shakur Stevenson. He will have the size, having fought above the weight for a bit longer now. But one other thing with Tiafimo Lopez is from an activity standpoint, he hasn't always been the busiest. So therefore, could that show its head? Yeah, can he get in there and rough up the likes of someone like Shakur, who has been, I would say, more active over the last few years as far as fighting, the amounts of fights compared to Teofimo Lopez. So that makes it interesting as well. But I'm going Shakur Stevenson with a decision in that contest. And shout out to Alan who dropped by. Shout out to Bulbul's Boxing Academy. I get that right? Bulbul's Boxing
Yeah,
Academy.
interesting nickname. Yeah.
Yeah, salute, gentlemen. Says he's mad Adamas fight is off. I didn't know the Adamas fight was
Yeah, I
off.
didn't know he was gonna
So
fight.
that's
Suppose.
interesting right there. Would have been good to see Adamas for sure.
Oh
So
yeah,
thanks for sharing that. Double
yeah.
B. Oh no,
Adonis
appreciate it.
is a serious player.
Yeah, he is. So I'm gonna look into that a bit more. Then Alan says looking forward to the Josh Kelly fight, hoping he surprises people and lives up to his early potential hype. Yeah, that is one that is going down this weekend as well.
Yeah,
We might as well
it
mention
is
that
gonna be.
main event
Yeah,
fight.
yeah. Murtazali. That's right. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, Murtaza Aliyev. And for those that know or don't know, Murtaza Aliyev, he knocked off Tim Zhu. That was probably his biggest
Yeah.
claim to fame here in the sport, and he did
In
it in
only three
devastating
rounds.
fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow, that was holy shit. Three
yeah, right.
rounds. Well,
Yeah,
you
it's
never
great.
saw it coming. Yeah.
And
Oh,
how many pounds you said?
how many rounds you said?
Oh, rounds. Oh, no, I thought
Yeah, three in the third round. I mean.
yeah, three, yeah. And he knocked off yeah, hey, and Tim Zhu at the time, people were looking at him as the best 154 pounder in the world. There were some who felt he was. And yeah, the way he handled him, it was like pretty crazy. So this is no doubt going to be a test for, I would say, both of them, but for sure Josh Kelly, who, as Alan had noted there, he had a lot of early potential and hype. I mean, as I've noted myself there, he looks the part. When you see Josh Kelly in the ring, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, technically speaking, his skill set, athleticism, stylistically, the way he just looks different. He looks the part. So I would liken him to say, if you talk about how someone looks in the ring, just that fluidness and all that stuff. If you like the way Jerron Ennis looks, I think you'll like the way Josh Kelly looks when you watch him there in the ring. He's just a fluid, seemingly naturally athletic type of guy who is most certainly skilled. The question is, will he be able to take out this guy, which he has the potential of doing because, as mentioned, Murtazaliev, his biggest win, of course, is Tim Zhu. So that
Yeah.
has its high. And then you have the other end or other side of that. Josh Kelly, he's been in with some tough competition. And Josh Kelly is very much capable of being the type to rise to the occasion. If you look at them from just a skill set standpoint, then you're going to favor Josh Kelly. And it just be a
Oh
matter
yeah.
of now this is his chance again in what will be his biggest, I think, test just relative to where he's at in his career now. And he has a chance of, hey, putting his stamp back on things like, yes, I am still here. I arrived. I'm still here. and I'm ready to take
Yeah,
over these divisions around 154, maybe 160, you name it, as we continue forward. What are your thoughts there, boss?
yeah. I mean, Murtazalia only holds like two. I mean, one other win that is kind of note, even though Jack Colkey was already past
Okay.
his prime and all that, and
Hmm.
he might well turn out to be, as I like to call it, a one KO wonder. But
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, yeah, it is still. Oh, just Frank, hey, my buddy.
Yes, just right.
So yeah, I haven't seen much of Josh Kelly, I admit so. But if you say he's that good, I mean, athletic and all that, yeah, I can see him upsetting Murtazaliev. Still, obviously, Murtazaliev has power. He can punch, so he's got that chance. Of course, he's favored, kind of more favored to win by KO, I think, probably. And yeah, I mean, but he's still like relatively untested, Murtazali. That's the thing. So
Yeah.
I think this fight will show how good he is, and yeah, how dangerous he is.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think it will. I think it will. We know Josh Kelly, he had lost to David Avanese, and that was a big
Yes.
step up for him. And that was his biggest test to that point. And you could argue it still is his biggest test, certainly relative
Yeah.
to Murtazaliev.
And
David
that
Avanese does
doesn't.
have more of a resume.
Yeah, that it doesn't promise well. Let's say for Kelly because he was tough by Avanesian, and Murtazaliev can punch probably just as hard, and that's a little bit risky for him there. So yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. As I said, I favor Murtazaliev to win by knockout, and Kelly, if he wins, probably on points. I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one. I'm looking forward to that one as well. So there you have it, folks. So yeah, I have Josh Kelly via decision. But that being said, Murtazalia, of course, he's a live dog and he's coming in with some confidence, I suppose, having knocked off Zoo. But yeah, I think that the better technical fighter will ultimately be, well, seemingly Josh Kelly, and Josh Kelly he has that Olympic pedigree behind him, that elite
Yeah.
amateur pedigree, and that's what makes him stand out. But it is a matter of putting it all together with the brightest
Yeah.
lights on, and this is going to be his opportunity.
Oh, I see. The fight is in Newcastle, so like, and Josh Kelly is from Sunderland. It's like just
Yeah,
south of Newcastle, so he'll be fighting at home. You might say, yeah,
yeah. So
definitely.
he's got to
He'll
put
have,
on.
yeah, he'll
Put
have that
on.
home advantage. So yeah,
And
that
it should
means
be
a
that
lot.
turnout.
Yeah, Hmm.
Newcastle. So it's in Newcastle, right?
Yeah, Newcastle.
All right. That's where Written. That's his name, Lewis Written. That's where he's from, right?
Ritson.
Ritson, yeah,
Yeah,
Lewis Ritson. And you saw a lot of fans come out in Newcastle and showed love for Lewis Ritson whenever he fought. So I'd imagine there'll be a good contingent
yeah.
of Newcastle fans. Well, the likes, of course, Sunderland, all of them, but a great contingency of fans are likely going to be there to pack out the
Well,
place.
I'm just happy it's in Newcastle because that means I'll be able to watch a normal hour.
Yeah, yeah, you
So
don't get the chance. So yeah, definitely
yeah.
check that one out. I'm gonna try to catch it as well. Yeah, timing wise, I'm gonna try to catch it. But yeah, that should be a good one. So we'll talk about it, folks. We're gonna talk about it on the next show there in terms of
Mm.
who happens to come out victorious, what goes down, all that stuff. So that's Kelly versus Murtazaliev. So that's another interesting one. On that, going back to that Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson card, which is going to be on the Zone, and it's a the Zone pay per view unless you have their Ultimate package. But basically, you also have Keyshawn Davis there. Is going to be taking on
Oh,
Jermaine Ortiz. This is one where
yeah.
he no longer has his. He had a 135-pound belt at one point, and then he lost it on the scales when he was supposed to fight Edwin De La Santo. So now he's moved up to 140. That's another name that I forgot to mention there. We were talking about the 135ers that were there, but Keyshawn, he may be done with 135, even though we really didn't get to see him defend his title in that way, in a major way there. So he's going to be taking on Jermaine Ortiz, who's been in with some of the best, and that includes Vasily Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez. This is going to be at 140. So it should be an interesting matchup, Bob. I think we talked about it last week. I'm going to lean Keyshawn Davis. I think he can get a decision over him. Jermaine Ortiz, I feel he he knows his style. He's going to be economical. He's probably not going to put himself in too many crazy situations. But Keyshawn Davis said he's going to stop him. But sometimes a lot of boxers say that it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But what do you think there, Keyshawn Davis, Jermaine Ortiz, who's kind of tough,
Hmm.
durable guy who's shown his
Yeah.
flash?
Jermaine Ortiz. Yeah, I know him from the Lomachenko fight. Of course, that was a hard one for Loma. Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
he just barely managed to win, as far as I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And
That was
Jermaine
it. That was
Ortiz.
Ortiz's arrival right there into the
Yeah,
world.
that was it. Yeah. I mean, it's a little hard to really tell, but right now Davis is like the considered the next big thing, the next
Yeah.
big star with his power and all that. His amateur background and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so he's I guess seen as the favorite. However, you like you never know. I mean, it's the same as with, for instance, when Tony Harrison beat Jermel Charlo.
Yeah.
Everybody was expecting Charlo to win it, but
Yeah.
Harrison boxed really well and he won it. And
Yeah.
so it can happen this time. Definitely, I give Ortiz a good chance. Definitely to
Most
win.
certainly. And Ortiz, he also made Teofimo look bad in terms of that contest they had as well. And some might have argued that Ortiz probably could have gotten a nod in that fight with Teofimo Lopez as well. So he has this thing about him that when he gets up in there against the guys who are considered to be better than him, the more elite level fighters, he does hang in there. He finds a way to get
Mm.
it done, and he's been there when the final bell rang, and the other guy's been in a tough fight, so that could be in
Yeah,
store.
yeah, yeah. It's true. But like, yeah, Davis has that power. Yeah, really significant power, but it's not always enough to just. I mean, he can box, I guess, too. But yeah, Jermaine is really tough, as you said, and
Yeah,
skilled fighter, definitely.
yeah. So I'm going Keyshawn Davis decision in what might be a pretty close fight. I would say. I think Jermaine's going to come with it, but if Keyshawn is able to do what he says he's going to do is goes out there and stops Jermaine Ortiz. I think that is a hell of a statement for 140 pounds, or at least his introduction, at least, you know.
Wow, yeah, that'll be something. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it will be. So we'll see though. But not banking on. So I'm going decision there. So we
yeah.
got him on there. We got that fight. And of course, we got Bruce Shoo Carrington. He's going to be taking on Mark Castro. That's another contest. It's going to be on the undercard.
Oh,
Should be an interesting one. I think you've seen Bruce Shoo, right? He's from same, I guess, neighborhood Mike Tyson, Brownsville, or somewhere over in that
oh,
area, Brooklyn. But Shoo, he used to come out. Maybe he still does with the little cloth, terry cloth, with Shoo on there, like Iron Mike used to. And he's a good, promising fighter there at 126 pounds. Now, what's of interest for him, of course, this should be a good fight. Castro should be a good test as well. I favor Carrington, but Shoo's with top rank, Inoue's top rank, and at a point there over the last year or two, they've seemed to have lined up things or made some form of indication that they're eventually trying to make a Shoo Carrington versus Naoya Inoue fight. But of course, that will require Inoue to move up to 126 pounds. Could that happen? Potentially. But he's got some other business to handle now with that mega fight between him and Nakatani. That's still one that is out there. So we'll see what happens there. But Shushu, nice fighter. I don't know if you recall seeing him, but he's pretty good. Promising.
I'm not sure, but I don't really know him anyway. Well, like,
Yeah,
yeah, Carlos Castro, he's been around.
yeah, I
He's
said
fought
Mark.
some
Yeah, Carlos Castro.
good,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
fighters, definitely. Neri and Figueroa, yeah,
Hmm.
Fulton. I
So
mean,
good test for good test for
yeah,
him.
he lost to all three, but only Figueroa stopped him at least.
Hmm. Oh yeah, and that's Figueroa. He has this. Sometimes it's not technically polished, but he just got this overwhelming style where he's just in there on you and roughing you, and just throwing a lot of
Yeah,
punches. He was able to stop Luis Neri too. I remember people. I had picked. I think both of us we were watching it. I can't remember. Or we. I remember we did a boxing shit show about it. This would have been how many ever years ago that was. And I remember picking Brandon Figueroa in that contest. It just seems like
yeah.
things were lining up for such. I think you might have done the same there, but just seemed to be lining up for such. Even though
Oh,
Neri was coming in with a lot of big wins and a lot of he had some
yeah,
good.
that was some victory. My God, Neri was like undefeated, a KO machine and all that.
Yep.
And then bang, like one body shot, I believe. Yeah, it was a body
Yep.
shot, and that's all.
Figueroa
Yeah,
of all people. Figueroa.
yeah. Like his brother Omar was also a big puncher too. I mean, they have it
Yeah.
in their blood.
Yeah, he was a
So
promising. Yeah, Omar was promising, had his issues, and
yeah,
never really got to see the I guess,
no,
top version of Omar or what he could have been at his
yeah.
absolute best or whatever. Um,
Panterita. I remember his nickname, Panterita, Little Panther.
I take it he's done now. I haven't looked into him, but I remember he had come back after a long period, a few years back or something like that. But I'm guessing he's probably done now.
Yeah. By the way, I see that actually Brandon is gonna fight Nick Ball in the week after, like the
Who's
the
that?
weekend after this one. Yeah, Nick
Who's
Ball
who's fighting Nick Ball?
Brandon Figueroa
Oh, that's an
in
interesting one. That is
yeah
very
in Liverpool. So wow, that's
wow.
gonna
That's
be
interesting.
yeah. What a fight! Oh wow.
Hey,
Mm,
it's So hey, Brandon's not afraid to travel. So yeah, that should be
yeah,
interesting. I like Nick Ball. And Nick comes with it, the wrecking ball. He's
yeah,
the modern day Barbados Joe Walcott.
yeah.
So yeah,
I love his style. Yeah, the way he moves and goes.
yeah, he's super short
And
guy,
then
but he gets it done. Figueroa, he maybe about 5'7" or something like that, 5'8". I'm thinking could be a little bit taller there, so it should be an interesting matchup there. But Ball, hey, he's always the shorter guy when he goes in there.
yeah, of
So,
course, 5'2", I mean, come on.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you only find a lot of these guys in these divisions, like flyweight or minimum weight or stuff like that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no doubt. Shout out Technique in the building. Said he's going for the underdog.
Ex-
Got you there, Technique. Maybe Castro in that Castro character fight. Yeah, Castro the underdog, but hey, the experienced fighters for sure. So it could happen there, Technique. Shout out to Bull Boss says shout out to Nick says Nick Ball versus Figueroa unification would be wild. Yeah, yeah, that'll be interesting right there. And you know it's gonna be it's gonna be rough and tumble. And usually if
mm.
you fight if you fight Figueroa, you're gonna end up with some cuts or something. And then I just think about Ball and how he fights in there on the inside. Yeah, it's gonna be a rough fight. Could be ugly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Bomb
oh,
or
okay. Oh, yeah. So, but yeah.
Espinoza.
So, Bullabos, he mentioned correction Espinoza. Yeah, I want to see that one. The potential Nick Ball versus Rafael Espinoza because you have a
Oh,
6'1" thereby six
oh
one
yeah,
featherweight going up against
the freak.
freaking one who's 5'2", 5'1",
Yeah,
5'2", somewhere in between
crazy.
there. That'd be insane.
Yeah, the tallest featherweight ever versus the shortest one, probably, or the shortest famous featherweight, anyway.
Yeah, right. So that would be interesting. So yeah, you're right. That would be absolutely wild there. That's one I know we've talked about it here before on the show. I definitely want to see it. I just want to see
Mm.
how it plays out, and I think that's interesting for boxing fans. I guess we get some height, a good deal of height disparity when we see um uh what's his name, Fundora, Sebastian Fundora
Oh
take on
yeah,
opponents because
the
that's usually a
three.
pretty crazy height disparity. But I'm just
Yeah,
thinking about, yeah, this one, Ball and Espinoza, man, that's crazy right there.
it's like a basketball player versus boxers. That's how it looks when Fundora is fighting.
Yeah, yeah, right. It is like that with Fundora, and he like Espinoza. Generally, they don't fight lengthy, extended style. They'll get in there and mix it up. So
Mm.
Espinoza versus Ball is going to be a fight, probably one on the inside, which is crazy to think about with that height and whatever distance
Yeah.
right there. So it's crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we get that at some point. It looks like I think we had noted this also on that card, the New York card. Jarrell Big Baby Miller is getting back in the ring. He's found a way to get back in there, and he's going to be taking on Kingsley eBay thereby. But
Oh.
that being said, Jarrell Big Baby Miller, what is he at this stage? He's a fighter. I don't know in terms of, is he going to get a title shot? I don't know. I don't see it or anything of that nature. So maybe
Yeah.
he's just a fighter who's out there in the heavyweight ranks who, yeah, he has had some baggage and all of that stuff tied
Oh
to
wow.
him. But if you get a win over him, it'd be good to have a
Hmm.
win over him, I guess you can say. But he should beat Kingsley eBay, who I think is solid. But I think
Big
Jarrell
punch.
Miller probably a little bit better than
Yeah.
Kingsley eBay. It should be a banger. I think it's going to end in stoppage. I'll pick Miller for the stoppage. But just
Yeah.
in terms of in general, though, with Miller, he's an interesting fighter there, Boz. I don't know what the future holds for him.
Yeah. I mean, he's coming off the. Well, oh yeah, that was a draw. Sorry, against Andy Ruiz Jr. I thought he got that decision. Okay. Well, yeah, that was a very like lethargic, slow Andy Ruiz Jr. By the way, but yeah, still it
Yeah,
was a good thing for him to get a draw after getting totally like pummeled against Daniel Dubois. Not
right,
bad. Yeah.
right.
So
So yeah, so
yeah,
he's
this
a
guy
fighter.
Kingsley Ewe doesn't have many fights and stuff. I mean, I
He's
see
been
he
in
was not.
the competition, usually losing.
Yeah, he was knocked out by Jared Anderson. So like, there you go.
Yep,
I
and
don't
then
think he's got a great chin. So
he might have been
and
in there. I think he was in there with Guido Vianello.
yeah, a
Yep.
draw. All right, a
So
majority
that's
draw. I see.
That's like his
Yeah,
standout sort of performance there because Vianello, big guy who has some pop to him, can move pretty decently as well for his size.
yeah,
He's six
he
six.
can. He's a pretty good boxer. I
Yeah.
mean, for a big guy, I would
And
say.
Vianello beat Makhmadov,
Yeah,
remember that one,
TKO. Yeah.
which is pretty crazy.
I thought he should have gotten the nod against the Jagba too. Even I mean,
So
he
yeah,
that was a
you're
very
not the only
close
one.
fight.
You're not the only
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Hmm. So I was a little surprised that he lost to Richard Torres Jr. But he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
supposed to be a hope. Like, yeah, a
Yeah,
big.
and that fight was yeah, certainly the early part of it was an ugly fight, but I guess the middle was
Yeah.
a kind of ugly fight, a lot of
Mhm.
tying up and just a bad sort of stylistic matchup. Him and Torres. So yeah,
Mm.
so that's, hey, eBay has that draw. That's something. Size wise, he'll be decent size there. Jarrell Miller, I imagine, is going to be 300, over 300 pounds. So he's going to have that type of size, of course, which is naturally the thing when
Yeah.
you're coming in at 300 pounds. So it'll be interesting. And the other big baby there, Bobo's ass is Jared Anderson retired. Hey, in a practical sense, it almost seems like he is there. Bobo's, I don't know. I guess he's going to continue to fight. He had a fight, I believe, last year. He might have had one. And
Yeah, on
then,
points.
yeah, so it was one last year. Because
It
I was,
was February last year. Yeah,
okay, so certainly it slowed down because at one point, hey, they were pushing him pre at least
yeah,
pre getting knocked out by Bacoli. Yeah, you would see Jared like three,
yeah,
maybe even four times in some of those years. And yeah, man, it's like I think we've talked about it, Boz and I, we've discussed it before. I feel like his confidence has been shattered. Well, I don't know him. I'm not next to him or around him or
yeah.
anything, but it just seems
It
like
can happen.
yeah, it might be a confidence thing. There was a video
People
out
like,
there of him and Big
yeah,
Baby talking about fighting.
if you've been like hyped for a while and people saying, "Oh, he's the next great American heavyweight," suddenly you get dismantled by this guy who was supposed to be like, yeah, who were you were supposed to beat, then yeah, it can really mess your psyche up, definitely your confidence, definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah, technique. Yeah, yeah. Basketball player versus horse jockey. Yeah, Bobo's mentioned that. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what it will look like. Technique says Ball would be the underdog versus Espinoza. Yeah, he likely would for sure. He likely would be the underdog there because it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting when hey, stylistically, I just like what could come about in that one. Like both of the guys, but Espinoza, man, he throws a lot of punches. Uh, so Ball would have to break that up as much as he can, but he can be
Yeah.
rough. So I like Ball. So that'll be interesting. So we'll see how it goes. Uh, also, there, Boz, I was just looking. So on that Murdazaliev card, you got Josh Padley. He's going to be fighting just for note. Then Turhan, the female fighter, she's going to be in the mix as well. Just want to note that. But another card here is going to be Xander Zayas taking on Baru. I need to see Baru's first name, but Baru, if you recall, he fought against someone that had a damn good showing and beat. Yeah, he beat Caleb Plant. I think it was.
Oh,
I think it was
yeah.
Caleb. Or am I thinking correctly? Maybe I'm a little bit off. So let me see who he beat. But he beat somebody recently, and he came in. People didn't think he would win.
This Cuban guy with Ioannis Teles.
Yeah, yes, he
Teles.
went as Tellers. Yeah, not Plant. I'm wrong there because that was I forget the Resendez that beat Plant, but yeah, Baru beat Tellez. Tellez, yeah, Cuban fighter who was seemingly on a quick pace trajectory to be one of those guys, sort of like Morel or whatever, who could work their way to a title quickly in under like a major amount of fights. Because Tellez, he might be close to 10 fights at this stage or something like that. So Baru beat him, and it was an upset. And Baru, hey, he had a damn good showing just from overall perspective. So even though it was an upset, it was a pretty convincing win for him. And now Xander Zayas is going to be looking to step in there and see what he can do with Baru. Zayas, we know he has a lot of backing there. Boz and Top Ranks has pushed him for a good bit. Puerto Rican fighter, so he has fanfare, all of that stuff. This is one where he's going to be the favorite. A lot of people might not know Baru, but Baru, just based on his showing against Telez, he's pretty scrappy. He's one of those guys that he's an African fighter who came in with a good record. But that being said, many probably don't know him or didn't know him at that time. I didn't really know him prior to that. But that being said, he had a damn good showing, and I think it'll be a plus for him going into it confidence wise against Xander Zayas, who most certainly is going to be the favorite guy there, Boz. But I know you've
Yes.
seen Xander. What do you think of Xander? Because this is a chance for him right here. Of course, going to be step out, be that guy. He's at 154. It's for the taking, I guess you could argue.
Yeah, Alexander is really solid. I mean, he is a really, yeah, he's a super, yeah, right. Well, I think he's really shown himself so far to be a top talent, and he's not maybe not such a big puncher, but he's got some pop anyway. And yeah, I think he's a very solid fighter altogether. I think yeah, good technician and tough tough guy, tough guy. And this guy Abbas Barao, that's how you pronounce it, by the way, Barao, I think. Yeah,
Burrell.
yeah, yeah. As you said, he pulled off a great upset against Telez, and he also beat Sam Eggington. And even though Eggington was already,
Yeah, yeah.
past it, but yeah, he
That's a
went to
name I remember seeing on his resume. Yeah,
he went to England to beat him. So he's obviously not a guy who is phased or like scared to go to his opponent's home country and fight. So that's a good
hmm
thing, definitely. And Zaya says, well, he's fought in the Madison Square Garden, so this would be his actually what second fight in Puerto Rico. Wow, that's pretty special. His first world title fight, first defense. So this is big, yeah,
yeah,
definitely big for him. So yeah, I think he is the favorite. Yeah, he's the favorite here, but it won't be an easy fight for him. I don't think it will.
yeah,
Definitely,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm with you there. Yeah, I lean
Mm.
towards him probably pulling off the victory, getting that decision. And yeah, I think it will be a tough fight. And yeah, Barrow, he can get scrappy, or he's used to
Yeah,
being there with some
it will
scrappy
be a
opponents. Yeah,
scrappy fight. I expect he will be looking to put some pressure on
yeah, yeah,
Elias, and yeah, I think he's a little similar maybe to that guy. What was his name? Echo Essuman. Yeah, that
oh yeah,
fought
yeah, yeah,
Cameroon. Yeah, tough guy. Maybe not a superb technician, but he wins by like throwing guys off their comfort zone and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
but
durable.
yeah, very durable. Yeah, not a bad technician, but not like superb technician.
hmm
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, comparably speaking, yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it right there. So it should be good. And hey, for Xander Zayed, hey, the stars, the lights will be bright, the stars out, all that good stuff. But I think he can handle it because he has been fighting in Madison Square Garden and stuff as well. So he's I think he's used to it and that won't be an issue for him. But I do favor him for a decision. So we'll see how it goes. And I'll just note Rohan Polanco's on that card. Interesting fighter to watch there. Then Giovanni Santillon, he's going to be fighting on that card as well. If you remember Giovanni, he's still a name that is out there, I guess you could say, who could like make some moves there at 147 pounds. So just want to note he's out
Mm.
there. William Skull, he's going to be back in action this weekend apparently as an opponent taking on this
Oh.
Denmark fighter in Denmark, Bank. So
Oh
it's going to
yeah.
be
I saw there was a card in Denmark, but I didn't look
Yeah,
through.
William Scholes, he's headlining as the opponent against his Denmark fighter, last name Bank.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You cannot believe that this guy is actually a Cuban because of that name, William Skull. Doesn't
Yeah,
exactly look sound Hispanic. I mean, yeah.
this will be his first fight, I believe, since that contest
Oh,
or
Golding.
lack thereof with Canelo. So it'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see what happens.
I see this guy, yeah, Bank here has stopped Tyrone Zoiger, the German
mm,
guy who was briefly like, wasn't he briefly a champion or something? I don't know, or maybe not, but he was
Tyrone,
some
I think
Zeuge. How you?
I have
That's
to
how it's. Yeah, that's how you write it, but I think it's pronounced Zoiger.
what you got.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's undefeated. Bank.
Yeah, he's undefeated. He's what 17-0? Yeah, 9 knockouts. So yeah,
Okay, out of Denmark, and it's going down in Denmark. So I'm gonna have to take a look at him there because I
yeah.
don't know if I've seen him. Oh
Danish fighters like a good scrap too. Definitely, they
yeah,
usually tough guys. Yeah, like
yeah.
if you remember Mikkel Kessler, for
Oh yeah,
instance.
the Viking
Yeah,
warrior. Yes,
he
yes, it,
was the best. I mean, I think I
yeah.
ranked him. I did this ranking a few years ago, and I think he came second after battling Nelson. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
all
yeah. I was gonna say
yeah,
the durable Dane there battling Nelson,
yeah,
one of the scrappiest
yeah.
we know of all time there. So no, I can see that potentially being the case there.
Hmm.
I'll have to look back. But yeah, no, Mikhail Kessler, hell of a fighter there, and participated in that
Yeah,
inaugural Super Six tournament and was one of the favorites for sure. And
yeah,
that's the crazy thing about that tournament because you had the best 168 pounders for the most part going against each other. So you had to go up against somebody scrappy, and all of them had to fight just crazy
hmm,
fights in terms of just the level of competition. So
yeah. Thing is, I don't think he was at his peak there, but I mean, he
no,
wasn't completely past prime, but he wasn't at his peak. He had been a little inactive for like a year or something, and yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, he was fighting Andre Ward.
oh yeah,
Yeah, it's hard to win against him. Nobody did it in
yeah,
pros.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough one there. And then the fights with Carl Froch, crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 1-1. He went 1-1 with Froch.
Mhm.
First guy to beat Froch in pros. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes. And the other one was Andre Ward's.
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, scrappy contest there from both of them. But no, that's good stuff indeed there. But yeah, that's what's coming up for the weekend. I do see here on Saturday, February 1st. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about or Sunday, February 1st. Okay, this is this Sunday. This is a crazy card right here. It's on Paramount Plus, but it's well, I guess this is maybe Paramount boxing thing. You got Rayo Valenzuela, who's going to be fighting Guy Torres. I'm trying to think of the Torres, but Valenzuela has been in there with some tough competition. You got Boachuk versus Batayev. Man, that's a crazy fight right there. Sergey Boachuk taking I think his name is Raja Batayev.
Oh
Batayev,
yeah, I
you
know,
know,
I know
he
him.
lost
Yeah.
the Lithuanian fighter. Let me
Kavaliauskas, right?
no, no, no.
No, oh,
No, it was a
what?
welterweight. What's his name? Like, cause I like him. He's freaking. He had the appendix thing. He lost the boots here. We just want to discuss that, but yeah,
Stanionis. Stanionis.
Stanionis. Yes, yes, man. For folks haven't seen it, go look back on that. Stanionis versus Batayev. You're gonna see like scrappy, tough fight. But Batayev, he also beat. There was this fighter out of Minnesota. I forget his name. He knocked him off. Who was had a little buzz. I can't think of his name. And we know Boychuk, he went against Virgil Ortiz in a crazy scrappy fight. He lost to Brendan Adams in a rematch. So he's lost to Brendan Adams twice. But that's a style is tough for him. But Batayev is going to get in there and bang. Batayev, I think he's been out for a little bit. But that's so interesting. I'm just now seeing this 10-round middleweight. But this is going to be an interesting fight. I might have to lean my guy Batayev because he is super tough. And he had a fight against and had lost to Alexander Vesputin. I don't know if you remember him. And
Yes.
Vesputin popped for some illegal drug or whatever, and ended up being a no contest.
Yeah.
And that was a scrappy fight right there. And he had kind of really was banging up Alexander Vesputin, and Vesputin practically done since then. But Batayev, interesting. So I'm just seeing this. So it's pretty crazy. Then you got Kalajic taking on Gvozdik. As
Oh,
well.
my country, man.
Yeah, yeah. This is your guy right there. Hot Rod, right? Yeah, that's hot.
Yeah. Hot Rod.
So that's
Yes.
an interesting matchup right there.
Heavyweight.
He's taking on
Yes.
Bozdik. That's interesting, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's a fight. It's kind of open because I think Wozik is past it definitely, and I don't know about Kalajic, but yeah, he's still a solid contender. I mean, he'll never be like a really a big star or anything, but I mean, he gave David Morrell a really good fight.
Yeah,
I I had a lot of respect for his performance, definitely,
yeah,
and
yeah. He did.
yeah, he's not a joke anyway.
No
Yeah.
doubt. So
Mm.
yeah, that should be an interesting one. Then you have on this same thing. So I guess this is the Paramount Zilpha boxing. Maybe Jaleel Hackett's going to be fighting, but those are some pretty good fights. So I'm going to try to check those out right there. So that's on Sunday, February 1st, right there.
Yeah.
Boz, I don't know what the timing will work out, but it's going to be in Las Vegas. So in all likelihood, it's probably going to be late for you, but we'll see.
Mm.
You know, the replays and all that stuff when they jump out there. but
Yeah.
good to
Well,
go. But man,
what can you
yeah,
do?
good action coming up. Good action. And that's pretty much all we had here, folks, at least for
Mm.
now, until we get back in the mix there, Boz, of course. And they can follow you, Boz's Boxing, which is connected, folks. If you don't know, now you know Boz's Boxing. Plus, you see it up there in the corner. So be sure to check out Boz's Boxing. Be sure to subscribe. This is Boxing Chit. We'll be back next week, of course,
Yeah.
or yeah, I think we'll shoot for next week, next Friday. We made it Friday noon. That's the time we're coming on now, folks, for those that don't know. So we'll see what goes down there, Boz, unless plans change. But we plan to be here. So appreciate
Yeah.
you dropping by, man. And
Yeah.
stay
Anytime.
warm.
Yes. I will. All right.
All
See
right.
ya.
Peace, folks. Enjoy the rest of your